it seems to me that every time Joe Rogan comes up nowadays, it's normally because he's under attack by the liberal media. Normally he's being canceled for something, or something he has said, or something he said in the past is getting brought back up, or the fact that he's kind of sort of not exactly endorsing, how do I say, candidates of the leftist nature as of late. But Rogan, in a lot of ways, kind of showed what a lot of people have been trying to say for a while to him, but yet they can't seem to break through the YouTube algorithm on trying to get this message out. Joe Rogan, as cool of a guy as he is and as good of a podcast as he is, doesn't really understand the world of so-called politics itself. Now, guys, this video is not designed to rip Joe Rogan or anything like that right there. It's more or less to explain probably his thinking of why it is that on the Lex Fridman podcast, he said that he more than likely would not have Donald Trump on his podcast. Yet it's very, very weird because he's had Bernie Sanders, he's had Tulsi Gabbard, and he's had Andrew Yang on his podcast. Not to mention the fact we all remember before the election, he said he was an idiot when it came to politics, but yet then he turned right back around, and what did he do? He told people to go listen to Kyle Kulinski and David Pakman, two of the biggest morons on YouTube, two of the biggest leftist content creators out there, who have quite frankly have forced their audiences to turn on them by trying to buy into the wokeness, and now they're not woke enough, so those guys' views are kind of going down. That right there being said, though, I want to talk about Rogan here for a second, because I understand that Rogan does not know a whole lot about this issue, and for the most part, he's just a good old-fashioned dude, and he does a podcast. However, there are some things that have got to be mentioned in this video, which, by the way, we'll be talking about in this video. First and foremost, you don't let people like Joe Rogan or Bill Maher pick the people that you want to run the country, and I'll explain that in this video here shortly. Now, with that out of the way, guys, there's about 2 or 3 clips that I kind of pulled from this right. Don't worry, I will be leaving the full episode in the description box itself, so that way you guys can watch it. If there's anything you guys disagree with me on, please leave in the comments. Now, that out of the way, guys, before you start this video, make sure you guys give this video a thumbs up. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button if you're not already subscribed. Also, if you guys can, once again, turn on the notifications, share the video, and let's go ahead and dive into it. So, Joe was on the Lex Fridman podcast. Now, they were having a back and forth, more along the lines about, can you break through this person, and why have you not decided to have him on your actual podcast? Now, I'm going to go on a limb here and say that I think the real reason why Rogan has not had him on his podcast is because on Spotify, there may be a rule saying, look, you can interview anybody you want, but Trump can't come up here. Same thing with YouTube. You know, you got the JRE experience. You've got that channel right there on YouTube. It's very possible if Trump is even up there, he could actually lose money as a result of this. Of course, Joe's not going to admit to that. Joe's not going to say anything. But let's go ahead and roll clip number 1, and let's just kind of like dive into this just a little bit further.
Trump era is also going to be one of the weirder times when people look back historically about the division in this country. He's such a polarizing figure that so many people felt like they could abandon their own ethics and morals and principles just to attack him and anybody who supports him because he is an existential threat to democracy itself.
But don't you think it's not a cause, but maybe like a symptom? Like it's going to get, you said it got real weird. Maybe it's going to get weirder.
Yeah, I think it's going to get weirder. He's going to run again.
You think he wins?
Get weird. Well, he's running against a dead man. You know, I mean, Biden shakes hands with people that aren't even there when he gets off stage.
Yeah.
I think he's seeing ghosts.
Yeah.
You see him on Jimmy Kimmel the other day?
No.
Well, he was just...
So I will give you that right there. The Donald is kind of polarizing, but then again, though, him being polarizing is actually what drove 74.2 million people to actually vote for him, and it's also the reason why he's, I guess, the recency bias and the fact that people don't really care about mean tweets anymore is kind of the reason why you're seeing this polling data where Trump is actually beating Biden right now in head-to-head matches. By the way, not all these polls are right-leaning. It's not just Rasmussen Reports and Trafalgar Group. It's also Quinnipiac, Monmouth, of course, SurveyMonkey, and some other polls like YouGov. So I think that right now you might be missing out where everybody else is. As far as like not wanting to help him is concerned, Joe, you sure as hell went out of your way to help Tulsi Gabbard. You sure as hell went out of your way to help Andrew Yang. You sure as hell went out of your way to help Bernie Sanders. And before somebody comes in here and says that, yeah, but he's had Ben Shapiro and he's had Steven Crowder up there. He's had Ted Nugent. Don't really claim Ted Nugent. But Ben Shapiro, let's face it, was not exactly a pro-Trump voice in 2016. He basically actively campaigned for Hillary Clinton to get elected. And in the case of Steven Crowder, Crowder, of course, has not been up there recently. And, you know, Crowder, of course, he's received a lot of YouTube suspensions. And Shapiro, of course, he's controlled opposition, and he's never actually going to get those suspensions. And by the way, We already know that Joe's not a Trump supporter. We already know this. I mean, we all know that he voted for Joe Jorgensen. It's okay to disagree with people about politics and whatnot, as long as it's within a rationale or you've got a rational argument. And it's okay to have these discussions that, quite frankly, this is how we build a society. The problem is that the left has gone so far off the cliff that we can no longer have the debate. Don't worry, I'll probably have a video out at a later date saying why it is I don't believe we should be debating at this point in time, or why we should not be debating anymore going forward. Because let's face it, the left has completely gone off the rails. Now, Joe, and like I said, I like Joe, but then again, though, I haven't taken Joe seriously for a long time, and I'll explain that a little bit further in the video. So let's go ahead and watch it a little bit more.
Anyone else, if he was a Republican, if that was Donald Trump doing that, every fucking talk show would be screaming for him to be off the air. And by the way, I'm not a Trump supporter in any way, shape, or form. I've had the opportunity to have him on my show more than once. I've said no every time. I don't want to help him. I'm not interested in helping him.
The night is still young. We'll see.
If I have him on, the night is still young?
Yeah.
You think I'll have him on?
I think you'll have him on.
Really?
Yeah.
Why do you think that? Because you'll have Putin on?
And you're competitive as fuck. No. I think ultimately, I mean, you've had a lot of people that I think you may otherwise be skeptical. Would I have a good conversation? Which I think is your metric. You don't care about politics, so can I have a good conversation? And I think you had like people like Kanye on, for example, and you had a great conversation with him. I think I think
yeah, but Kanye's an artist. Like, but Kanye doing well or not doing well doesn't change the course of our country.
Yeah, but do you really bear the responsibility of the course of our country based on a conversation?
I think you can revitalize and rehabilitate someone's image in a way that is pretty shocking. Look at the way people look at Alex Jones now, because Alex Jones has been on my podcast a few times.
Yeah, which direction?
The people that have watched those...
Now, one thing that I did not make in the last segment, one point that I did not make in the last segment was, and we get it, you're going to interview Kanye West, great. And by the way, if I was running a podcast and I had Kanye West wanted to come on my podcast, then I'd more than likely would interview Kanye West. A very big deal. Like I said, I understand where Rogan is going at with this. You see, me personally, I think the reason why Rogan's not doing this is not so much because he does not want Trump, but don't worry, we'll discuss that in the next segment. It's the fact that I think that Spotify itself has probably already told him, look, man, when it comes to Donald Trump, you got to keep your mouth closed. We're not going to play the cancel culture crap. We're not going to do this mess anymore. We know you've been under fire, which, by the way, Joe has kind of cucked a little bit here recently. Like I said, I like Joe, but I don't take Joe seriously, okay? And, of course, my gut tells me that it's not just so much the fact that maybe he's anti. No, that's not what it is. I don't think he's anti-Trump in that sense. I just think he's a guy who doesn't really care. I think what Joe is trying to tell you secretly without actually coming out and saying it is that, look, we can't have this guy on the show. Which, of course, he has had Alex Jones there, but Alex Jones had to do a lot to rehabilitate his actual image. I mean, especially in the past. But I get where Joe is coming from with this, but at the same time, though, I'm kind of like, okay, look, man, you're kind of showing a little bit of hypocrisy. You see, the other day, Joe came out and said that he would support Ron DeSantis. Bill Maher also came out and said he would support Ron DeSantis. Now, guys, I've been trying to make up my mind on Trump or Ron, and I'll have a video out on that probably. I'm trying to do it this week. I'm going to get more research on that. And you got to understand something right quick. You don't allow people of the left, which, by the way, Bill Maher still is. He may have been red-pilled on the LGBTQ thing, but that does not mean that he's been red-pilled and going to be voting Republican. No, hell no. Joe Rogan and Bill Maher will pick your nominee and then turn it back around and say, well, look, I'm not going to vote for that crap. That's who they are, okay? This is just who the hell they are. Let's go ahead and roll this one last clip, and I'll go ahead and conclude this.
If you listen to interviews of Trump, who has the balls to call him out on his bullshit?
Chris Wallace did.
No, calling out somebody on their bullshit is easy when you're just being adversarial. But as a person who is genuinely, empathetically trying to understand,
yeah,
I think you're really good at that. Like, you pulled him in.
I don't know if he would genuinely be there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I think he would be putting on a performance, and that's
you don't think you can break through that in like 30 minutes?
I'd need more time than that. And he doesn't do any drugs. That's the thing about Alex.
Yeah,
you can get Alex high, get him drunk, and he'll start talking about interdimensional child molesters.
Yeah.
You know, and then you get the real Alex.
Once again, my personal feeling is that Joe at this moment in time is looking at the fact that Donald Trump may not be touchable. But then again, though, the Nelk boys, they interviewed Trump. okay, and they look to continue to have him up there more and more. So I'm kind of sitting here kind of wondering, like, what's the deal here? I mean, you've had Yang, you've had Gabbard, you've had Bernie, you've had Jent Young, you've had a bunch of left-wingers, Jimmy Dore, you've had these people on your show, and you've stopped short of having anybody that's close to the right or more aligned to the right on your show as of late. I understand you've been interviewing a lot more moderates, and good for you. I mean, a lot of these people are actually very, very good. I still listen to Joe Rogan from time to time, especially when he has a good guest on. I understand that Joe's deal is about having a conversation. But you can have a conversation with these guys right here, but you can't have a conversation with the former president of the United States. I mean, dude, president of the United States, polarizing figure, brings a little bit of controversy. Don't you think that right there might jack your revenue up a little bit more? Like I said, I understand. I've already said it once or twice in this video that Spotify may be saying, look, man, we may not want Trump up here, but then again, you never know. Spotify did kind of sort of get your back for the most part when you were being canceled by everybody on Twitter, especially the left-wing crowd over the vaccine crap. By the way, Joe, when you did get canceled, Donald Trump was one of the very first people to come out and get your back. He was one of the very, very first people to vocally say, stop attacking Joe Rogan. He was one of the very, very first people to come out there and actually do this. So, I mean, is this right? I mean, am I reading this right? Are you showing me that you're just not a very, very good person? What's the deal? I mean, I'm pretty sure that's not what the deal is. But I mean, dude, if somebody supports you or somebody gets your back, I mean, yeah, I think it would at least be customary to at least explain to that person why it is you might not have them up there. By the way, guys, Trump can go on any podcast he wants. And I'm pretty sure other people will take him to get the money and get the revenue and get the views. But there is one last thing I got to say. All right. I told you guys at the beginning of the video that there was a reason why I did not take Joe Rogan seriously. Not anymore. Okay. And here's the reason why. Back when Ronda Rousey, and by the way, I understand that I've kind of departed from sports, which by the way, I'll probably create a separate sports channel at a later date that's strictly designed strictly for sports. And also some of the more controversial takes may go over there. But here's the deal. During the whole Ronda Rousey thing, you pumped her up so much, and it was so unrealistic. Everything was, she was just built completely up way too much. She didn't even have any striking, and here you are out there saying things like, Jesus Christ. I mean, this is it's not a once-lifetime person. This is a once-only type person. You built somebody up like that only to get completely humiliated when she lost to Holly Holm, and then when she turned back around and got absolutely creamed by friggin' Amanda Nunes. Yeah, I've kind of had a hard time taking you serious since, okay? The way her career went down here after you pumped her up, it's been kind of hard for me to take you serious. Now, guys, in no way, shape, or form am I saying that Joe Rogan is not smart, that he does not know what he's doing, he does not know what he's talking about. I'm just saying on this one issue right here, he's kind of sort of showing a lot of weakness here and maybe even a little bit of hypocrisy on this issue because, like I said before, you've had Jink, you've had Anna, you've had Jimmy, you've had who else? You've had Yang, you've had Gabbard, you've had Bernie Sanders, you've had just about anybody and everybody in the world on the left, but yet you won't bring anybody who's either a right-aligned or a right-leaning personality. I've not seen one up there in a long time. Guys, there's just my thoughts. If you guys like this content, hit the like button, subscribe, share the video, sign off in the comment section, and I'll see you guys later.
Illinois Nazis. I hate Illinois Nazis.